Come to Remora TC to trade like a shark and not get eaten by one. Let's school together to protect and grow our money. Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. It is Wednesday, May 14th. We've got 10 tickers to review for tonight. I removed the ExxonMobil ticker and I added PLTR. So let's get started. Let's take a look at the SPY and switch to the daily view and just kind of review what was stated last time and see how price behaved. You can see on this chart my annotations in blue here, these blue arrows, and in fact I can say with confidence that I was incorrect with how the price action behaved. When I made my prediction, it was, it was Sunday. So Sunday was, Sunday was after this red candle here. So we've got the red candle here. I had just come back from vacation and I maintained my prediction from prior to vacation. So I didn't change it because I didn't see the price action. I didn't see enough difference in the price action to change my prediction. My prediction was a rejection of price up here at the 200-day moving average. And we can see that instead price gapped right above it, which is really unusual. So let me just make some updates here. Remove the 200-day line that I did there. Remove the blue prediction arrows going downward. Get rid of this as well. And what you can see is I made an annotation. Remove this, just kind of move it to the side for now. Ignore that for now. You can see that I added this gap. Okay, price really gapped up quite a lot. To me, it's gapping up right into this 590 price level. And then we have the possibility that the all-time highs will come back into play. So you've got the all-time highs here at 613. And from where we are today up to 613, let's see, that's only another 5% move, maybe 4.5% maximum. And so we'll have to see, because let's say we do get to the all-time highs in the next week, right? All-time highs here and here, we're not going to see any divergence. If we compare this spot here, which is the current all-time highs, so you can see the RSI is down here at this 61 RSI point, whereas price over here with RSI up here up at 65, we're not going to see any divergence. So I don't have a call to make, to be fair, to be honest. Let me just draw this line over here just to annotate for us the all-time highs. It's like right there. Okay, so the question is the all-time highs going to be tested? I think it will be. So my prediction, price may not get rejected much here at the 590, minimally at best. I think the market makers and the sharks are wanting to push price up here, pull in some more buyers. So we'll have to see what happens here. Okay, so I'll put an annotation right here. Just likely retest of all-time highs. And let's wait and see if divergence appears. All right, that's the SPY, which is the S&P 500. Let's switch over to the triple Q, see how the price action has been behaving there. On this one, same thing happened to me. I predicted a rejection at the 200-day, and in fact, it did not do that. So let me get rid of that. And I'm just get rid of this prediction, as well as these downward arrows. They're no longer in play. The 200-day didn't hold, but the triple Qs is a little different here. triple Qs, you can see that the RSI is getting up to this high range here. Some people like to use the phrase overbought up here. I don't like to use that because it makes us behave in a certain way. I think they use those terms to trigger a certain behavior in us retail traders. But on this channel, I try not to use that phrase. Anyway, it is up here in the 90s, in the 70s. And I think the last time it got up here, okay, let's take a look. Last time it got up to this zone up here where the RSI is in the 70s, is that there was the beginning of a change of momentum. So I suspect that the sharks will push price up, back up here to test the all-time highs, which is right here. And I've already annotated it that it's about almost a 4% move remaining into resistance, both at a price point of 535 and this trend line here. So this zone is resistance. I'm just going to kind of annotate it here, make it red. And likely the divergence will start to appear. And in which case, we'll be prepared to follow the sharks for a downward move, likely to gap fill as well. Okay. That is triple Qs. Switching over to FTSE. FTSE is losing some momentum. My prediction was market makers will push it all up here, all the way up here, hit the purple trend line as resistance, and then sell down. But we can already see some bearish divergence appearing. I've annotated it here. So maybe it doesn't even reach there, right? The more likely scenario is, I'll just kind of pull this arrow back down here, is that it won't reach up there. And instead, it'll come down to this purple trend line below. That's the FTSE. In general, I feel the momentum for all the markets is to the downside, more of a bearish move. But in the near term, price will fluctuate up and down to wipe out the retail investors. Switching to GDX, the gold miners. Gold miners on Sunday, which was right, okay, so it's after this green candle. Okay, so on Sunday I came back from vacation, so we were sitting on the Friday's price point right here of 50.30, and I said, well, we don't have much further to go. They'll probably push it all the way up, retest this year's high, which is here, and create a double top. A double top scenario usually will result in a downward move, especially with divergence. And so I was anticipating that this RSI area here would be the high for the RSI, and we'd have a lower low over here for the RSI as well, making divergence, bearish divergence. But in fact, on Monday, they sold it down. They gapped it down. So this gap was filled, creating a new gap here. And then Tuesday, further selling. Today, they gapped it down even further. My expectation for tomorrow, I delete this, is the market will open at the purple trend line. Okay, my prediction is they'll open it maybe at the what's this price point? 44.99, so 45, or maybe even further below at the purple trend line. And that may prove to be support. So I'm going to put a little bit of a support here. And then we will have to see how to play it, because right now, purple trend line and let's see here, and the black trend line. It's a long-term trend line. There will be a reaction there, unless they were to sell it down dramatically. But I don't feel that's going to happen yet, because Yeah, I just think they're going to bounce it around some more. So tomorrow, probably go like this. And it may gap fill here too. Let's add another. Let's clone this and move it down here because they gapped it down. So they'll probably play within this gap and then maybe decide to finally break. Okay. The 200 day is down below. So from where this purple trend line is to the 200 day, whoops, wrong annotation. Purple trend line down to the 200 day, that's about a 10% move. Maybe 9% move, yeah. All right. Anyway, my point is GDX further low prices in the medium term. Switching to, we're skipping ExxonMobil. We're going to switch to strategy, which is the Bitcoin play, MicroStrategy. My prediction was sharks would sell at the red line here. But in fact, they bought it up, they gapped it up, and now it's losing momentum. You can see it here on the RSI. So it may not even reach what I thought would be the next resistance zone here of 475. Now, how does 475 compare with where we were before? Well, 475 is a price point that coincides with the November high point for the RSI. Okay, so I think it's resistance. It's not much more up there though, from a movement standpoint, from where we are today all the way up. Oh, correction. That's a 13% move. So right now, like I said on Sunday, there was no play. I don't like trading in between the lines. And the lines being this one down here and this one up here. So it's a pretty wide gap. Right now, this is a middle zone. No trade. But they might move it up to here. Yeah. There's no trade for MicroStrategy. Switching to Nike. This one's moving decent in that my call on it was here to say, hey, let's play it all the way up to this downward trend. It's behaving as expected. You can see that it's filling the gap. I'm going to move this over here. The remaining move remains up to this trend line here. We'll see how much of a rejection it will take. But let's see here. Yeah, there's a gap here still. But anyway, it's moving as expected. I'm in the trade, so I'm pleased. Switching to Microsoft. Microsoft did not behave as expected. I'm going to get rid of this A here because it's already out of play. Delete. That was a prior gap fill which completed. So now we're in this spot where Microsoft pushed up past my gap fill of 442. It's already gap filled, so let's get rid of that. So the question is, what is it going to do next? Well, let's make a couple annotations really quickly. Make this one like this, just as a upper trend line. And I'm going to switch to the hourly because on the hourly, there is some momentum loss. So let's talk about that. Just kind of draw this like this real quick. All right. Maybe clean that up just a little bit. Okay. So this is the hourly chart. So there's a channel. You can see this channel, price bouncing up and down here. While we're in there, let's take a look at the RSI. RSI is waning. Okay, it's going like this within the hourly time frame. Now, the reason why I want to notate that this is the hourly time frame is because it's a little bit more of an active trading view. I don't necessarily want to base all of my calls based on the hourly because most of you are swing traders and you trade over maybe a week or 2 weeks or a month's time frame. So that's why I'm not going to emphasize the hourly. But I do want to say that it looks like it's starting to lose some momentum. So what does that mean on the daily? On the daily, maybe what they'll do is they'll wait until people who can buy in, I guess, up to the dividend exercise date, which is tomorrow. So for those buying all in today, up until the close of the after hours session tonight. And then tomorrow, begin to show more momentum loss, such that on the daily RSI view, you can see it as momentum loss. Right now, see how when I switched from the hourly RSI to the daily, it changed how it looks here. Okay, so let me go back to the hourly. The hourly, you can see it look very cleanly. But when I go to the daily, it skews it because you can see RSI still going up this way. So what I'll do is I'll make this annotation a 1 pixel thinner to indicate this is the hourly. This is the hourly RSI divergence, not the daily divergence that's thicker with the thicker red line, okay? Still, I'm feeling, I feel still bearish on Microsoft's overall price action. Hence, I'll still leave this here. Actually, I'll move this up a little bit to where we are now. Okay, about 12% down to the gap fill. That's Microsoft. Switching to NVDA. NVDA busted right through the 200 day, so I'll get rid of that. And this resistance is no longer there. So let's see. What can we talk about? Well, what I can say is the last time the RSI got up into this 70s range for RSI, when it started to touch it, was back here. Okay. And then it led to loss of momentum. I'm going to zoom out a little bit more. Here's another one. It's interesting though, because we're up here. I don't see any bearish divergence here. Other than one might say that price did this spike up, parabolic move up, whereas here it's mostly flat. So you could argue that to say that, well, so there's a divergence there. Price action was parabolic, whereas RSI is mostly flat. So that one might be able to argue that that is a change in momentum on the bearish side. So a red line here, but I'm not going to put it in there because that's being really nitpicky. But instead, this is the momentum change. So now we're up here in this 70s range for the RSI. So let's see how price will behave. I'm going to clean this up just a little bit for NVIDIA. I get rid of that. The question is it going to come up and challenge the February highs? It might. I mean, there is some volume coming in here. I don't have a call on NVIDIA. Yeah, I don't. So this is a thin zone up here. I don't have any linear price points here. Maybe I should just put the all-time highs here because that gives us an indication of the realm of possibilities. How much farther do we have? Let's see. We've got quite a ways to go, like 12-13%. So no call. Right now I have no call on NVIDIA. Let's switch to Tesla. All right, Tesla. My call for Tesla was bullish. I wanted to get an entry down here. Hence, I annotated this green line here, wishing that Tesla would be rejected at the 200-day and come back down here and hit this line so I can take an entry. Right now, there's no trade really, other than it's at resistance. Okay. If anything, there will be a small pullback. Maybe they'll pull it back down to the 200-day. and then resume a movement upward. We'll have to see. The 200-day, let's annotate it here. Probably, whoops, kind of hard to use the mouse. I'll try the pen. So something like that for the 200-day. Switch it to a blue. Okay. I'm still bullish. It's just the entry isn't right. So just, be patient. If you're following this channel, I don't like to chase price. So right now it's up here in resistance. So probably the better play would be to sell with the sharks, but the sharks aren't selling, right? So other folks will just short here, but there's no momentum change on the short side. If anything, it'll be a little bit of a price action move to come down and hit the 200-day or do a gap fill. I'll put this gap fill there. Okay, Tesla. All right, let's switch to Palantir. This one was really interesting. I'm going to zoom out to the weekly to show the price action over the long term, because what I find really interesting is that there isn't a lot of history for Palantir. Palantir only goes back to the end of 2020. What is this? This was during COVID. This was the coming out of COVID. So here are the annotations, okay? You can see my lines here. And I didn't make them purple, did not, because I don't think they're long-term enough. There isn't that much history, so I'm not using the purple trend lines. Perhaps, okay, I'll take that back. This one goes back to 2020, so that's 5 years. Let's make it purple. Okay, we'll make it purple. Long-term purple, okay. And yeah, we'll leave that one as the purple one. Okay, now, how right is this purple trend line? So let's go to the daily. I want to kind of show you guys the legitimacy of this line, the behavior of price around this line, okay? Purple trend line, all through here, you can see price behavior, touching it, okay? A lot of selling to get beneath it. This is a fighting zone, but you can see price attempted to recover, but wasn't able to. Another attempt here, okay? And then price didn't come back to the purple trend line until February here. It made an attempt. You can see on this day, this is 18 February, price moved up, but with rather low volume, only 84 million. And then on the next day, 147 million selling it. Okay, so there's the conviction to push price back down. So this was a failure of price, but it does mean that the purple trend line is legit. And then over here, we're retesting it. Okay, so now let's add the RSI. And I made an annotation. Today is all-time highs. Okay, today is all-time highs. So let's put the RSI back in, and you can see this amazing buildup of bearish divergence. It starts here in November of 24. Price continued to move upward. RSI moved downward. I'll zoom into the RSI down here to highlight that, in fact, you can see the peaks. The peaks, this peak and this peak, it's a downward move, whereas price was moving up. Bearish divergence. The sharks are likely going to sell. Okay, the sell signal didn't come yet until up here. This is the sell signal with 147 million sold on this day here. You can see that price continued to move up, and then despite this moving up here, it's the sell, okay? Sell signal here. So the sharks told each other, hey, let's get out. They sold, but then you can see price move back up. Perhaps all the retail investors said, you know what? I want to get in. All the mid-size funds and money managers and pension funds and 401k owners said, hey, I want to buy in. So they bought back in. And now we're retesting all-time highs, or we are at all-time highs, retesting this purple trend line. To me, this is a selling opportunity. So the market closed already. I didn't take a trade because it already closed. You can't sell. Here's the thing. The way the markets work, the way that trading works, is that they only let us short stocks, even though, okay, we can only short stocks during business hours. So you can do it, you can't even do it during the pre-market. You definitely can't do it for the after hours trading. You can only do it during the core trading hours. It's part of the playing field. Those are just the rules that were set. But the sharks, so what happens is the sharks make their moves. They can make it during the pre-market or the after hours, okay? So they've already signaled to each other for months, time to get out. So I'm going to take an entry. I'm looking forward to taking an entry because this ticker, holy smokes, it's a 40% move back down to this spot down here. Okay, so let me just show you. My chart is using the it's called the, give me a second, logarithmic scale. Okay, it's a logarithmic scale. So each of these price points over here isn't from a measurement standpoint. You can't measure it equally. It's logarithmic because otherwise the chart will be too big. So when we move from all-time highs just down to this price point here, that's already an 8% move. But as we go all the way down here, that's 21%. That's the 200-day. That's my prediction for where the 200-day might be. And it's a gap fill. That's a 30% move. Okay. So why am I saying this? I'm saying I'm actually foaming at them. I'm salivating because I think this will be a really amazing short trade. So I'm going to make this here red. Okay, they may push it up a little bit, pre-markets. They may push it up here in this 137 area. But perhaps over the next couple of days, it'll close underneath this, producing even further divergence. It's going to be mouth-watering, salivating. And I think they'll even know that. They're going to play with us a lot here. I'm going to have a drink. But this is what we're waiting for. We're waiting for the sharks to tell us what to do, and we're going to do it. Okay, this is Palantir. I hope you enjoyed this ticker because, this setup is perfect. I'm so glad that one of you told me to take a look at it. All right, so those are the tickers, 10 tickers for you today. I hope your trades go well. Perhaps don't take the ones that are in between the lines, like I was telling you. Don't do anything. Just kind of wait. And then for the other ones that are setting up, especially this Palantir one, for the short side, I wish you a lot of luck on your trade because this one's it's gonna be very volatile. Okay? Have fun. Give a thumbs up. Give me a comment. Tell your friends. Good night.